congratulations first and foremost on the success of Lover, because there's no guarantees even for someone as successful and talented as yourself. Every time you release music, you open it up to the, to the universe and you hope it's discovered.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the internet back there and some of our favorite moments. You may walk away from that world, but you're able to tap in and use it whenever you want.
The only thing I really read every day is political news. Oddly, there are actual inflections of how I feel politically on this record, more so than ever before. Like, you need to calm down is
The Man?
There's a song called Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince.
See, I didn't pick it up on that one.
It's definitely all about politics.
You've got these songs that definitely welcome people into your world, and yet you're able to keep yourself distant from that scrutiny. How do you do that?
I think after a while, you just realize that it's part of the job. There's a lot of things that I tell myself when I'm kind of panicking.
Celine is one of those people.
Oh, she is.
And by the time we start to put this out, there'll be music.
It's just, I'm so proud of her. She's been through so much. I've watched so much happen in her life. I am 100% convinced this is the best thing she's done so far. I needed to write that album, and I needed to put out that album, and I needed to not explain that album. Because another thing about that album was I knew if I did an interview about it, none of it would be about music. And this entire Lover phase of my life, there's been no distraction from the music.
Because you're in a place where you're actually telling a very personal story, or telling something so personal to you that someone else's opinion, be it brilliant or otherwise, could only cloud that, really.
Yeah, men are not allowed to want those things the way that men are allowed to want them.
Do you still have blind sides? Do you still have things that catch you off guard? Things that kind of surprise you that you're not prepared for?
Every step of my career, there's been, people questioning whether I deserve to be there. So I feel like my whole career up until very recently was spent trying to prove myself to those people and trying to prove that I belong here, that I'm going to work hard enough, that I'm going to make music that's good enough to belong here.
Are you an emo kid?
I was actually at the most emo dinner party the other night because Brendan, Yuri, and Sarah, his amazing wife, had me over. I show up and it's Brendan and Pete Wentz sitting next to each other, and I just got to ask them every single question. Pete Wentz is probably, if I had to pick a favorite lyricist, it would be a tie between him and Lana Del Rey. Blank Space is a song that's just zingers, one after another, which I definitely learned from listening to Fall Out Boy. I now see resilience as a major quality in friendship. When your stock is down, if they're still wanting to hang out, that's and I know who those people are now. You really haven't figured out a way to compensate the creators. And that's something that I'm always going to be very vocal about until I feel like it's fixed. I definitely want to, when I write a song 100%, I want credit for that. And I think that's fair. But I also, when people have these policies where they're we won't do this without this, I understand why. So I can't, when I was 23 and people were just kind of reducing me to kind of making slideshows of my dating life and putting people in there that I'd sat next to at a party once and deciding that my songwriting was a trick rather than a skill and a craft. Kind of, it's a way to take a woman who's doing her job and succeeding at doing her job and making things, and it's in a way it's figuring out how to completely minimize that skill by taking something that everyone, in their darkest moments loves to do, which is to slut shame. And so now when I see this happening, I can see a headline about a young artist, about a young female artist, about another breakup, and it sends me into
It takes you back there to a degree?
It sends me into a real sad place because I don't want that to keep happening. And I don't think people understand how easy it is to infer that someone who's a female artist or a female in our industry is somehow doing something wrong by wanting love, wanting money, wanting success. Women are not allowed to want those things the way that men are allowed to want them. And then you put out your second body of work, and then you realize that everything you're putting out now is being compared to what they liked about your first record. But then you put out the third one, and then it's compared to the first two. Then you put out the fourth one, then it's compared to the first three, and it goes on and on and on. By the time you're at album 7, you have such a strange, convoluted relationship with your previous work because you're damn it, All Too Well was a good song. And I knew with this album, it was something that was almost a return to form.